We use the comedy to get to the truth, to pop the tension bubble around an unspeakable topic that no one wants to address. And then we use these improv skills to actually help people build the skills that they need to get better at it. So I want to tie that to the point about narcissists, assholes, and everything else. Kelly's right. Sometimes we can't move everybody. Yeah. But before we give up on them, we want to at least hold a mirror up to them. And the comedy holds a mirror up to them and says, here's what ain't working, guys. Here's what's broken. And we get them laughing at the shared truth of the problem. And that shakes a lot of people into a better place.
And we specifically have a story in the book where that happened, right? So the story is about we put out an RFP for a project, and by far the leading candidate was this guy from New York, and fantastic, brilliant. We were blown away by him. But as we kept having more meetings with him, we realized he would bring staff with him that never spoke, that he would check his phone when other people were speaking, like us, and it just it got worse and worse and worse, and we're like, oh no. And finally, one of the newer executives on our team was like, I cannot take this. I can't, I can't work with this guy. I know he's the best. I can't work with him. And basically said, we're not giving it to you. And he was astounded because clearly he should get the gig, and he should have. And one of our colleagues did the thing you never do, which is told him why. And said, you were checking your phone every time I spoke. You didn't let any of your staff speak. You needed to be the loudest person in the room. It's all anti who we are, and it would have driven us crazy. This guy comes back to us months later. He was so, he couldn't believe that it had happened. He was very surprised when he heard why, and he fired himself. He ran the company, but he took himself off of being the president of the company and went into improv classes, and was midway through the point of trying to become a better listener and a better partner, and just wanted to let us know that we had that influence and thanked us, and that was it.
We ended up going with something called Yes and just so you know, Yes and is the fundamental building block of improvisation. It's ground zero, the essential ingredient of improvisation. Improv is about affirming and building on ideas. Think about this, you're two actors on a stage, you don't have a script, right? So no one knows what's going to happen in the scene, and you're in front of 300 people who expect you to be interesting. And the only way you can possibly create something that has any interest and any momentum is if you have some understanding between you about, I'm going to offer an idea, and whatever it is that I offer, it's not your job to refute it or anything else. Your only job is to agree with it and then add something to it. It's the yes, I will agree with it, and I will add something to it.
And that goes back and forth, back and forth. Because if you say no, everything stops. It's not interesting, it's not funny. And so it's what we find is the most sticky concept in improvisation, because you can say to anyone who goes into a business, when you're in a brainstorming session, how many people say no right away? Like the bulk.
That'll never work because, right?
Yeah, we can't do that.
We did that before.
And the whole thing with Yes and is that at the start of creativity, at the start of innovation, at the start of trying to make something out of nothing, that is what we do, we make something out of nothing. So if you have a business that's supposed to make something out of nothing, if you don't let Yes and guide you for the first 20, 25 minutes, you're done. What great idea, what brilliant idea came out fully baked? It didn't seem insane. Let's start there. What brilliant idea didn't seem insane? All the brilliant ideas seem insane. So give them a little chance to breathe. There's plenty of room to parse later.
Yeah.
There's so much time to say no. There's so much time. So at the start of everything, you say yes and. And we catch ourselves all the time not doing it. So I mean, but it's good because we call each other on it.
Yeah, and it is more than a way to create sketches or scenes or shows or things like that. It's an ethic. It's a vibe in a place that you're going to, when you work with each other, when you come up against a problem, when you have conflict, you're going to try to yes and your way through it. You're going to try to assume the best in the other person, or build a better solution to it instead of being openly critical and
assume
skeptical.
Value, assume competence. The thing is,
it's a more positive way of interacting with people.
When you say no to someone, they come out with you want people to come out with wild ideas, and why would you not want that? But you keep saying no to someone, they're not going to offer any more ideas. Why would they? Rick Thomas, who is an alum of the Second City and a teacher, he has a phrase called "fall into the crack in the game," and the illustration of that is when you're on stage with someone and it's already been set up that he's Tom, I'm Kelly, but for whatever reason I have misheard that, so I call him Terry, and the whole audience knows I've called him a name that's not his name. The quick joke, the thing that would probably get a laugh but then would kill the scene if he says that that's not my name. But instead, the grid improviser would say, how'd you know my real name? How'd you know my real identity? And then the audience loves it because they realize he has saved me but kept truth inside the scene, and so we're all part of it. You fall into the crack in the game. You let the mistake be part of the brilliance of the next thing. So another adage is make mistakes work for you. They can. Sometimes that's where really interesting stuff happens. And we talk about that, you know, in
Post-it notes.
Post-it notes. The Slinky was a mistake.
These were mistakes that have gone on to be billion-dollar businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the business world is full of, you know, accidents, happy accidents. And that's counterintuitive in business, because usually you feel fear when you make a mistake,
Mm-hmm.
or you want to punish it or reduce risk or all those things. And we're not, and I think we should say too, we're not Pollyanna about this. We're not pretending that there's the real world, and yes, there's a time and a place for yes, and we have to say no all the time.
Yeah.
It's not to say we never say no, and it's not to say that we would advocate for that. What we say is don't let your reflexive first response always be no.